shows up, and you all did, and that's like a miracle and brilliant, and thank you very much. Because my name's Darcy Monche. I'm here with Pesticide Free PEI, and we've been pretty hard at it for just over a year, I guess, a year and a half, and we meet every second week, and if you've been reading in the paper, we're trying to do 100 different things, and when you meet every second week, you just want to hope that there's a whole bunch of people that are kind of with you that, you know, and we're just here to spread the word. So we've invaded the town of Alberton, and we don't really mean to just seem like marauding invaders, but we're going to do this to towns right across PEI, so, you know, the plague is coming to another town here or somebody else very soon, and we're going to have different speakers and different issues. Of course, in Alberton, you have an overwhelming, unbelievable issue to deal with pesticides in the town of Alberton, and certainly we're going to talk about that. But I want to just introduce you to Pesticide Free PEI because they've really been working really very, very hard to get to this point. So I'm going to start with Maureen Kerr, who's really busy live tweeting us over there. Maureen is in Stratford, and Maureen got really quite concerned about the number of children who were diagnosed and dying with cancer in Stratford. And Maureen said, that's enough. I'm going to do something about that. And she started. That's what she did. She just started. And then right along in with her came Roger. Where's Roger? Oh, there's Roger. Roger Gordon, Dr. Roger Gordon, who came in as our scientist who started looking at the numbers and reading the charts and doing scientific presentations for us and really helped explain all the issues to everyone. They went to the Stratford Town Council and it's moved along from there. I would also introduce you right now, we have cosmetic pesticide. We have two co-chairs. One is dealing with cosmetic pesticides, so those are the ones that are being sprayed right in our neighborhoods and if we live in towns. And then we have Joan Diamond at the back, and Joan Diamond is the co-chair for agricultural pesticides for the more than 50% of us who do not live in a municipality who are never going to be protected from pesticides by a municipal bylaw. So I would also introduce you to Lynn Lund at the back. Lynn is our secretary, our letter writer, our correspondence checker. She's the one who ends up with the list of things to do and absolutely gets them done. So we love her for that. And I don't want to leave anybody out, but that's the four. I'm the executive right there. And I'm just here to move the chairs around and do the groundwork, that kind of thing. So today we have 3 speakers on our agenda. We're going to allow them each 15 minutes, give or take, and we're going to take from the first 2 and give to the third one. So in not in alphabetical or any other special order, we have today, and I'm sorry, I would introduce all the dignitaries and politicians and officials in the room, but I don't really know who actually came and who didn't. I know we invited candidates and representatives from the Department of Environment and the Department of Health, and we put out an open invitation. I think the mayor of Alberton is here. Oh, there we go, over there. Thank you very much for coming. Invited guests, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, residents of Alberton and everywhere else, thank you for coming. And I am going to start off this afternoon's presentation with a man that you all know, I think. Anybody here not know Malcolm Pitt? Yeah, there you go. A man that you all know and, you know, hopefully love. He does have oysters maybe in his chat, so I know Bruce loved him already. So Malcolm Pitt, of course, fisherman, shell fisherman, for 14 years in the area, has watched what's happened to the local environment, to the rivers, to the watersheds, has tried to address these concerns and remedy them, and he's going to tell you about how that's going for him. Malcolm.
You're tall.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Thank you, Darcy. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming out today. Like Darcy said, my name is Malcolm Pitt. I live in Christopher Cross, just outside of Tiggle. And before we get really serious with everything, I'm going to tell you a joke. I'm sure you all know my father, Denny Pitt. Tells jokes and he plays the fiddle, so I'm going to tell a joke and play guitar. There was this priest one day, he was He was at the front of the church, and the church was falling down, the little community they were in. It was falling down, the roof was falling down, and he said, you know what? He said, I got to do something with this. This is my job to take care of this church. So he didn't like asking people for money, but he said, this got to be done. So he said, one morning, he said, people, he said, our church is falling apart, and we need money to fix it. He said, I want to ask anybody if you can donate anything, $10, $5, whatever you can afford, fix the church up. So, okay. A couple of minutes went by, and one gentleman stood up from town, happened to be a millionaire. He said, I'll give $50. He sat back down. And then when he sat back down, 30 seconds later, a piece of mortar fell from the ceiling and hit him in the head. He said, I guess he's right. So he stood back up again. He said, I'll give $10,000. He sat back down. And the priest turned his head to the side and said, hit him again, Lord, hit him again. Anyway, okay, slideshow was running there. So my wife, Kelly, thank you for coming out and doing a slideshow for me. It's not a lot, but it'll help a little bit. That's what I love to do right there, and that's what I want to continue to do. Water quality in Prince Edward Island is a huge concern for me. Why? I'll tell you why. This is the courtesy of the West Prince Graphic, April 16, 2014. Zach Metcalf reporting. This statement was made by Cindy Crane, a surface water biologist for the province. Nitrate levels in Mill River caused 88% by agriculture. Right there. Nitrates leached into the soil over the course of years, reach groundwater. From there, the contaminated water feeds streams and wells. Crane said agricultural runoff feeding directly into streams contribute to very little to the nitrate issue compared to groundwater leaching. Nitrates, the guidelines for drinking water is 10 milligrams per liter. The island-wide range average is 3.4 milligrams per liter, but that may vary between watersheds. And many watersheds exceed that. In many of those watersheds, more than 10% of the wells are contaminated by nitrates to the point where the water is not drinkable. Number 3. This gentleman here is in the crowd today. This is Johnny Bowers, fishing on the Caskenbeck Bay, Mill River area. This was back, West Prince Graphic, July 17, 2013. Here Johnny is holding a bunch of dead oysters. That's not what I want to see. Number 4. Another gentleman that's in the crowd today, Mr. Clifford Bernard, past president of the PEI Shellfish Association for 16 years. This one here is courtesy of the West Prince Graphic as well, August 14, 2013. Picture was taken by Zach Metcalf near Bloomfield Park on Route 2 overlooking Mill River. I was on my way to Rustico to dig clams this day, and as I approached this area, I just happened to look in Mill River, and I seen the water. I said, something don't look right. So anyway, I said, I didn't have a phone, I didn't have a good camera, I had my little phone. I called Clifford, I said, Clifford, I just passed this area. I said, can you get somebody down here? Can you go? Can you get somebody to at least get a picture of that? So anyway, Clifford did. I called the environment, I think Clifford called the environment that day as well, and then he called Zach Metcalf. And that's the picture that we're looking at now. The color is off a bit there, but if you ever seen the real picture of that, that water is like a gas coming up from that water. And I want to thank you, Clifford, for doing that day, because if not, that wouldn't be on the front page of the graphic. And I want to also thank Johnny, too, for all the years, both of you guys, that you put in fighting water quality, because I know it's pretty stressful at times, and it's hard on a person. And when you're working in the industry, you don't want to see it, and it's pretty frustrating when you tell somebody something, and you expect them to do something about it. But when nothing gets done over the years, it's pretty frustrating. I just want to talk about now sea lettuce. This here is a Hills River, right at the end of the Hills River. So, when you have high amounts of nitrates in your water, just going to tell a few people, just in case you don't know what happens here with the nitrates. If you have high amounts of nitrates in your water, in your estuaries, it will cause sea lettuce to grow rampant. This picture was, oh, that's another picture, I'll tell it later. As sea lettuce decays, it uses up all the oxygen in the water. Once this happens, anaerobic bacteria start to grow. They produce a milky white, cloudy green, gray discoloration of the water, and they produce a rotten turnip or rotten egg smell. This is referred to as an anoxic event. Since 2001, over 40 island estuaries have suffered anoxic events at least once. This is another river. This was taken from the government website of a river that's got anoxic. I'm not sure which river it is. Pierre Grisard, a student from UNB, completed his thesis in 2013. His research was to develop a nitrate loading model applicable to watersheds around the Northumberland Strait because of the demonstrated severity of nitrate contamination in PEI. Sample sites were set up, flow measurement sites were set up. I know everyone here will remember these numbers. The findings here are from Pierre Grisard's thesis. His work was done under the supervision of Kerry T. B. McQuarrie, PhD, Department of Civil Engineering and the Canadian Rivers Institute. Work was also done under the Canadian Water Network, Department of Environment, Labour and Justice, Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. Do you have that map right there? This is a map from Pierre Grisard's thesis. And his thesis basically took Nova Scotia and New Brunswick to PEI and all of the monitoring sites and flow sites, test sites. He monitored, I think it was for 6 years, how much nitrates were being pumped into the Northumberland Strait, and he gave an average of how much each province was contributing to the strait. This is his findings. Nova Scotia, pretty big province, 1%. New Brunswick, pretty big province, 2%. Prince Edward Island, 100%, that was 100%, 97%. Prince Edward Island is pumping into the Northumberland Strait. This is unacceptable. And so anybody here that's a lobster fisherman on the west side, or if you know somebody, tell them these numbers. I have also heard from different people that there's been anoxic events in the Northumberland Strait. So you can have your nitrates going in there, that's fine. But once you hit a level so high, there's so much nutrients in there, it's growing the sea lettuce rampant. Once that decays, then you get the oxygen's out of there, you're going to get a dead zone, an anoxic event. Now, I've heard from a few different people that DFO has information that this has happened twice in the Northumberland Strait between Charlottetown and Confederation Bridge, and it lasted for the last 2 summers for at least 2 months. But that's, the Northumberland Strait is a big body of water. That should not be happening. This is a bucket of water, or well, it doesn't look like water, does it? This is from September 2014 at the Montrose Bridge on the ocean side, right, the bridge. So I got a bucket of white water, so it's the only way to get a good true color. And that's what the color of water was there on September 14th. Can't describe how frustrating this ongoing issue has been for me. It's been 5 years since I have fought with government to take water quality issues seriously. I've done everything I think I can do. I've had letters to the editor, CBC radio twice, emails, phone calls, 2 standing committee meetings, a petition. I have 2,144 names on it, 7 different provinces represented, unanswered emails, like, I don't know where to go anymore. I've also been told by the Department of Environment that I was welcome to harvest sea lettuce. I said, yeah, I'll get right on that. It's not my job, I told them. I said, the government of PEI is responsible to take care of the island, its people, and the environment. I'm an oyster fisherman and a clam harvester. I do not get paid to harvest sea lettuce. You know what the problem is, and you know what's causing it. Do your job. just for spite, one day it was blowing pretty hard and I had to pick the kids up early, so I didn't make it fishing, or I was on the way home from fishing. And this is Montrose Bridge, where that bucket of water came from, and an Oxig event September, an Oxig event October. This is where we launched our boats in the spring. So one day I said, Cindy Crane told me to go, and you're welcome to do harvest sea lettuce, so I went and got a truckload and did my best. Just for spite. Anyway, back to Cindy Crane. That meeting we had in, the date is April 16th last year. The Cascabec Bay Watershed Group had their annual meeting, and this is, Zach Metcalf was there, and he had an interview with Cindy. And this is what she had to say. My department, can you still hear me good? Check, you lost me, huh? I know I talk loud, but... I'm trying to get a drink of water. Calm down a little.
There is, but Natasha, fresh batteries in for us.
Just talk loud. You're loud enough.
I'll just have to talk louder, I guess. Check, not working. Well, I'll keep going, so I think you can hear me. Cindy Crane at the meeting for Cascabec Bay Watershed on April 16th. Quote here. My department wants to do community-based nutrient planning. The change that have to be made affect everybody that lives and works in this watershed. So the people that live and work here have to be involved in the decision. They have to be part of the process. That's what our department is advocating. It won't work for government to go around and arbitrarily do it because you guys will be angry because we weren't doing enough, and the farmers will be angry because we're picking on them. That's from Cindy Crane's thing. Everyone has to come together and get around a table and start working on this issue. That's another quote there. The government told me many times the answer is to shut this off at the source. Well, my response to that is then do your job. You know what the problem is? Just do your job. All right. I asked Ms. Crane at this meeting if the province...
It's not the battery.
You're getting something now and then.
I'm not.
I'll just keep going.
It has a new battery. I'll go check the battery.
I asked Ms. Crane if the province was in the process of contacting farmers to address nitrate issues. Ms. Crane said it wasn't. That her department wanted the change to happen in the communities without the need for government action, and that her department can offer information and data to aid in the process. Leona Lane, who was in attendance that night, said, the government is saying we need to come together as a community, and I understand that. Except on the other side, they're saying, sure, I just don't want to get my hands dirty. Ms. Crane maintained her position that a neighbor-to-neighbor solution was called for when facing the nitrate issue. I want to read a letter to you from, it is from, let me get his proper full name, Michael R. Vanden Heuvel. He's a UPI professor, and among other things. And he wrote this letter for me in 2012, November 27, 2012. I was going down to meet with Ron McKinley and his deputy, and Jana Sherry and her deputy. Water quality issues, of course. And this is what Mike Vanden Heuvel had to say in support of this here. Regarding letter of support for action on nutrients issues on PEI. Dear ministers, and this was to Gail Shea and it was to Jana Sherry. I've been requested to provide a letter of support to Malcolm Pitt regarding the urgency of nutrient issue on PEI. Recently, a consortium consisting of members of 5 federal government departments, agencies, and 3 maritime provinces, industry, and NGO stakeholders have identified nutrients, sediments, and contaminants as being 3 priority issues in the southern Gulf of the St. Lawrence. The Northumberland Strait Environmental Partnership, consisting of the above-mentioned groups, is one of the 4 watershed consortium nodes in the country funded under the Canadian Water Network, investigating the establishment of a regional monitoring framework. Of the above-mentioned issues, nutrient excess is the most severe that we face as a society with long-term environmental and economic impacts. The problem of PEI is elevated levels of nitrogen, largely originating from agricultural activities. The main site of impact of these nutrients is our estuaries. Excess nitrogen causes the proliferation of sea lettuce, a plant that exhibits prolific growth under these conditions. In late summer, the sea lettuce decomposes, resulting in a deficit of oxygen in our estuaries. There has been severe environmental consequences causing fish and invertebrate kills and reducing overall biological diversity. Impacts on the productive sectors of the economy are also substantial. In particular, PEI shellfish industry, valued at over $30 million per year, is the most severely impacted as it operates directly in the estuaries. While it cannot be calculated, the aesthetic damage of stinking, rotting sea lettuce has the potential to impact tourism industry worth $300 million per year. The impacts above are clearly established in science. However, the cumulative impacts of activities on land on the larger Gulf region are still uncertain. There is certainly suspicion that those activities have reached the point of affecting the Northumberland Strait as a whole, affecting the capture fisheries, particularly lobster, an industry worth about $300 million a year. I support Malcolm's plea that it's time for serious action on this issue. This is a long-term problem that will require many years to resolve. I am equally certain that it will not be resolved without significant investment in the problem. I believe the best investment in the long term is to reduce the use of nitrogen on land where the problem originates. Since 2007, I've been involved with a group of managers from the Provincial Environment Ministry, DFO scientists, and other scientists from the Canadian Rivers Institute to establish the nitrogen loading guidelines required to reduce environmental damage currently in draft. The required nutrient reductions are in some cases staggering, over 50% reduction in nitrogen required just to limit the problem of oxygen loss. While I am an aquatic scientist, I am not an agronomist. I believe that solutions are already out there that could accomplish this. These solutions would require substantial commitment, for example, mandatory 4-year crop rotation, switching to alternative sources of nitrogen, or strains of potato that require less nitrogen. While farmers are often blamed for the issues, the reality is that this is a societal issue. We all want cheap food. The producers themselves, who are part of the heart of PEI society, cannot afford the change that would be required to ameliorate the substantial environmental issues. Solutions will require not only engagement of the producers, but involvement of government, those companies that utilize the agricultural products, and in most cases also sell the fertilizer. The staff of the environment industry, some of the finest people that I have ever worked with, know what has to be done. Pilot projects for nutrient reduction are underway in the Weekly River and Southwest estuaries. However, in my opinion, the political and financial will is not yet there to seriously tackle this problem. That was from Professor Michael R. Vandenheuvel at UPEI. He's with Canadian Research in Water City Ecological Integrity, Science Director, Canadian Rivers Institute, University PEI, Department of Biology, and Department of Biomedical Sciences at Atlantic Vet College.
Houston? We shut it off and back on again. 2 minutes more.
Minutes? This is Montrose River, October the 20th. I drove by this river and I just happened to look up and that's what I seen. So I kept on driving and said, that's just the sun shining on the water certain way. And I went back. My gut said, go back. And I went back and I called the environment, I called Cindy Chant, and she got that picture. So Cindy Chant called the Department of Environment, and Cindy Chant spoke with them, and this is what the department had to say in the West Coast Graphic. It was October 22nd, this is October 20th. We are aware of the ongoing issues with the Montrose River. This particular event appears to be related to high tides being pushed up into the freshwater part of the river. When this happens, the water can be discolored, especially in the bottom of the deeper pools where the salt water collects and becomes stagnant. It is not related to the nutrient issues in the estuary as seen earlier in the season. End quote. Well, in response to that, I want to share this. Mike Coffin, PhD candidate at the University of Prince Edward Island, has equipment deployed that measures dissolved oxygen in the water column, measured hourly at Montrose River. Mr. Coffin indicated to me that anoxic conditions were observed for parts of October 19th and parts of October 21st and all day October 20th. in the upper reaches of Montrose Branch where this is at. And I'd like to thank Mike Hoff for sharing his information on that. This year report here was put out in 2008. It's a Commission on Nitrates and Groundwater and EDI. 2008, people, like that's a few years ago. And it states, a level of frustration has been expressed about the fact that the problem has been allowed to reach its current state without corrective action being taken. Quote, government must ensure the groundwater resources of the province be utilized for beneficial and legitimate purposes. The waste and degradation of the resource prevented, and that the underground resource be managed to allow for maximum benefit to the people of this province. The Commission's final words in this report of the Environmental Advisory Board were, and I quote, and I quote, 10 years have passed since government received the Roundtable on Resource Land and Use Stewardship report. If government waits any longer, no years and no amount of money will fix this problem. And that was that, and I think that's it. Coming to an end, I just want to say thank you for having me here. There's lots of cleaning out again. And people, if you see something like that water, call the environment, call people, because that day I called Clifford up. If I wouldn't have called Clifford, that wouldn't have been out there. Montrose wouldn't have been out there. Like, don't think that somebody else is going to do it for you. Just make the call. It only take 10 minutes. Call it, say, like to report an event. Thank you very much, where it's at, and we're done. PEI is too nice of a province to be let that go where we're going. These guys have said it 2007, 2008. That's unacceptable to me. Thank you very much.
We are all in this together. When you see something, you have to take some action. And we do that in water and in pesticides. And when you see it, get involved, because we are all in this together. We only have one water supply. We found these in the parking lot, so if someone's not seeing as well as they should, if you're a little short-sighted, or these may be yours. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much to Malcolm for sharing all of that information. I know this is ongoing, but Malcolm's right in the middle of it. Would you like to drive up to work tomorrow to find that you couldn't work because somebody else messed up your workplace? And that's what's happening with our shellfishers. I can't believe there's not a lot more dead fish piled on the steps of province house myself. Like, I'm absolutely astounded that the shop building is not full of it. Well, you know, dead fish. I would like to introduce Bruce Heyer. Bruce Heyer has a Master's of Science. He's a biologist, a forester, and many other things. He's also the Green Party MP for Thunder Bay, Superior North. We had him on the island a little while ago, and we found him so interesting that we thought we should get him back, and he could talk to you about a bigger picture. Where Malcolm's right in the water, Bruce is a little higher than it. Bruce Heyer, he actually flies. Sorry, Bruce. I'm too tough.
Hi there, it's great to be here with you. I was here about a month ago, and at the invitation of Darcy and Peter Bevan Baker, and when they asked me to come, they said, how did we get you here? And I said, I'll take care of that part. But my only charge for coming will be some of your wonderful microbrewery beer, some of your wonderful mussels, and especially Malpac oysters, and they delivered lots of those, and so I've been lured back again by more of those wonderful things. So thank you, Malcolm, for providing those to us. I'm originally from Connecticut. I grew